Please join me in Gasho. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday, October 11th regular service. And welcome all of you, both locally and from wherever you're joining in. We're going to start this service with a moment of silent meditation, followed by the recitation of the name of the Buddha or the Onenbutsu. Again, please join me in Gasho. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Next, we will have the reading of our pledge, and so if I can ask you to either bring it out or you can read the screen. I believe you can see it on the screen. Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I shall carefully share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall be open-minded and act accordingly, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I shall share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life we have received, I shall live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who continues to emancipate all. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Next, we'll have the sutra chanting, and we'll be chanting the Junirai, which I have brought up on the screen here. So, for those of you who are following by the screen, you can follow along. And if you don't, if you've printed it out, then you could just read along as we go. Okay, thank you. Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Keshu teni shokugyo amida senryo zokuson zai mi me anako し主意ね金色心情如線のシャマタ行如像部両目上脈小蓮華語が将来見出そう面前上如満月以後有如千日月上如天空しら子が将来見出そう観音町内観地宇治主従名相将軍信福下の負け馬王が将来見出そう無備無苦語少女習得形血女国小差利悪徳自在子が将来見出そう実も名ももさしゅ無料小魔女さな一生主女がにぎじ子が将来見出そう根体保険知所系前言上場名大座大い座上如線の子が将来見出そう自も将来勝負し天元人図しやなく戦後尊厳上具業子が将来見出そう小無常無我の薬女水月伝よろ一種世も無名字子が将来見出そう一尊無説無悪名薬無如に悪の不主に死心教一尊子が将来見出そう一尊無料勉強無少種悪知識 節意尊具独自修善無縁如海水小逆前後少女者衛生収容所以後ナマナブナマナブナマナブナマナブナマナブナマナブがにしぐどぐ平等性際同つぼないしおうじょあなごNamanavs, namanavs, namanavs, namanavs. Namanavs, namanavs. So once again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our service this morning. Before I go any further, I wanted to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving weekend, as you know, this weekend. I know this year is not the best year for Thanksgiving. They're saying we're supposed to be socially distancing, etc. But you know, whenever I think of Thanksgiving, one of my favorite cartoons come to mind, or the cartoon, no, comic strip. Well, just as I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, the comic from Gary Larson, I'm going to actually show you another one of his works, because this one, whenever it comes to Thanksgiving, I am reminded of this drawing here. I don't know how well you can see this. Can you see that okay? Do I have to, how can I pull this up? So in this picture, there's two parrots in a cage, and these two kids up front, they're pulling apart a wishbone, and the parrots are talking to one another, and one is saying to the other, now here comes the barbaric finale, right? So as the two kids are about to pull apart this wishbone, right? So if you if you can't see this well enough and you want me to send it, let me know and I'll send it to you. But I always think of Gary Larson with his unique perspective on it's just actually social commentary, or looking at how we do things culturally, and when we take a look at it just from a little different perspective, things can look quite differently. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that this kind of satirical commentary is not unique, of course, to just cartoons, but in fact, it has been going on for many hundreds of years. And in fact, in Buddhism, we have examples of this. And one of the individuals who is famous in Japan for making commentaries on society, if you will, was a Zen monk by the name of Ikkyu. Now, Ikkyu lived approximately 500 years ago, and he was in fact a contemporary of Renyo Shonin, our eighth Lord Abbot of Jodo Shinshu. In fact, they were known to one another and had spent some time together. But this Ikkyu, over the centuries, has become, there are many stories that have come or been made about him, and he's almost become like a folklore, a legend. And over the many years, he has become very popular amongst pop culture of Japan, to the point where they even created a very famous animation called Ikkyu-san. And generally, the animation is of a child monk. Ikkyu was said to have entered a monastery when he was 6 years old. So this animation has him as this child monk in the monastery, usually getting into some sort of mischief, and he was known, Ikkyu was known for his wit. And so he would get into these situations, and he would get out of it using his wit. And there are many anecdotes, both true and I don't know if some of the stories may be embellished, but one of the stories that's often told happens to do with the New Year's. So in Japan, on New Year's Day, when New Year's rolls around, the greeting that is traditionally said is "Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu." Akemashite means the dawning of the new year, and omedetou gozaimasu is congratulation or celebrating the new year. Okay, so this Ikkyu used a pun on words, and on New Year's Day one year, it was said that Ikkyu, what he did was he went to the local cemetery and he actually got a human skull, and he put this skull on a stick, and he carried this skull around going from place to place. And it was said that what he said was that on this skull, where the two cavities where the eyes used to be, he said there used to be two eyes here, but the eyes have popped out. Now in Japanese, the eyes or eye is pronounced me, and to pop out, you can say deta, mega deta, okay? And so he would say medeta, medeta. So instead of akemashite omedetou, he would say medeta, medeta, yojin shiro, or be careful, be careful. So what he was saying was that he took the pun on this congratulations, and he used the skull and said the eyes have popped out. Be careful, be careful. And what he was saying by this commentary was that his commentary was that as we celebrate the New Year's, we often say Happy New Year's, but he was trying to point out that every New Year's means that we're one step closer to our own demise. Okay, so that's why he had the skull out, to remind everyone not to just foolishly celebrate and get carried away, but to also think on what is truly important and listening to the Dharma. Don't waste the time, but listen to the Dharma. So this is, again, a satirical tape. Another very famous satirical poem, if you will, it comes from, let me just see if I can find, what did I do with that? Oh, I just have to pull it up. And I think I've introduced this before. Excuse me, just bear with me just a second here as I pull this up. Where did it go? Oops, this should be it. Let me just share the screen. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the poem. This poem was written by Kaneko Misuzu, and I think I've introduced this before to you. It's talking about fishing, and I translated it as the Great Haul. And the morning light dawning, what a great haul, a great catch of sardines. On the shores, the celebrations are like a festival. In the ocean, tens of thousands of sardines are holding vigils for their fallen mates. Okay. So this one is very similar to what that Gary Larson said with the wishbone, right? In that the sardines for the fishermen, you know, when they have this great haul of sardines or fishing, great catch of fishing, it's a great celebration on shore. But Kaneko Misuzu, who was a poet who lived in the early 1900s, she took it from the perspective of the sardines. So she said, where on the shores they're celebrating like a festival, in the ocean, tens of thousands of sardines are holding vigils for their fallen mates. So again, she's talking about looking at things from a different perspective. Now, speaking of perspective, you know, with this COVID-19, we've been focusing a lot on the negative, you know, the separation, social distancing, being apart from family and friends. But I'm happy to say that I actually participated in a happy occasion yesterday as I was asked to conduct a wedding ceremony. So we actually had a wedding ceremony here. I must say, you know, with all this negativity with the COVID-19 and everything that's been going on in our society, it sure was refreshing and nice to actually have something, a celebration going on during this time. It was a muted wedding ceremony. The couple were originally planning a larger wedding, but they postponed that till next year, but they wanted to hold the ceremony as planned this year. So it was immediate family and who gathered, and we held this wedding ceremony. But as part of that wedding ceremony, in our tradition, we generally present the groom and the bride with his and her matching onenju beads, the beads. And as part of the ceremony, I also have them do oshoko, or offering incense, together. So when they do so, you know, I go through the steps of how we do the gassho. And it reminded me that, in fact, this simple act of gassho is, in fact, one of the most positive and empowering acts that we can do as Buddhists, and in particular as Jodo Shinshu followers. Because this whole act of gassho is actually a reminder of oneness. And when we put our hands together, it's coming together, the act of coming together, right? As I mentioned, in our society right now, there's so much pulling apart and going the opposite direction. This simple act of coming together is very important for us. And when we do gassho, it is said that this represents opposites, where the left hand can represent this life of suffering, this life of parting. The right hand represents the eternal, the world of the Buddha. When we put our hands together, it's a reminder of the oneness we share with all of life. And so, again, it's a gesture, a reminder to us of our oneness. Several years ago, we had a minister from the Mother Temple, the Honganji, he came here, or Reverend Sakai was his name, and he came here to lead a workshop for ministers and the board of directors of the National Board of Directors. And one of the things, this workshop was held out in Toronto. And one of the first things that he showed us or taught us was how to gassho and how to offer incense. And for most of us who have been coming to the temple for many, many years, you would think, well, why is he showing us something so simple, so basic? But what he was trying to show us is that as we do this as a custom, we often forget the true meaning behind it. We go through the process, but we're not mindful of what we're doing. So it was an exercise, more or less, to remind ourselves to be mindful of our action, of our when we do gassho, truly be there in that moment and truly think of the oneness and the gratitude that we have. And it really struck me because I often, especially like on Sunday morning, I have a tendency, when we go in the altars, for instance, as we cross in front of the Buddha, we're supposed to bow. But in my rush, I will often, if I do bow, I'm bowing as I'm moving forward and I'm, trying to get things done. And it was a reminder for me to be mindful of the moment, mindful of this presence. And so on this Thanksgiving weekend, I thought it was a very appropriate thing for us to be mindful of this simple act of gassho, putting our hands together, as an act of a great positive act of bringing our thoughts together, bringing us into the oneness of the Dharma, and reminding ourselves that we should truly be grateful for the life that we have here and now. And so I'd like to ask you at this time again to please join me as I close my Dharma talk with the gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs, Naman Nobs. Thank you very much. This will conclude the service portion. If you want to unmute yourselves, you may do so now. And I'll just...
Hi, Nobu.
Hi, Terry.
Harry.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sensei.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Did anybody want to say anything or say hello or?
Hello from Duncan.
Hi, Ginevra.
Everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hi, Jeannie. Thank you, Jeannie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Take care, Terry.
Oh,
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Eric.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Nice to
Auntie
see you.
Molly.
Oh, Polly.
hey, Eric.
Molly.
How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good, thank you.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
you too.
Jenny, when is moving day?
Moving day, the 25th. So 2 Sundays from now.
Okay, well, good luck.
You're
Thank
moving?
you.
You're
Well,
moving?
I'm moving to Denver.
Oh, my.
I thought you were going to say you're moving back to Canada.
They won't let me back.
Jenny. Okay, so we'll see you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye, Dad.